Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. My name is Dave Paris, and I've got Steve Herron. He's the guy in orange, the good-looking guy over there in orange. And welcome, everyone. He's looking around. Welcome, everyone, to Homes.com, converting social media to cold, hard cash. We're focusing today on Facebook ad creation. We're going to talk about targeting of Facebook ads, creation of Facebook ads, coming up with call to actions and how to actually create Facebook ads, which everyone knows is a great, affordable way to advertise your real estate business for you, for promote yourself, promote your listings on Facebook. Really great tools for everyone to have. And we're going to do a deep dive into that. Is that right, Steve?
No, this is the class about YouTube. No, I'm kidding. Yes. No, it's all about Facebook. All about Facebook ads today. Yes, absolutely. They're going to be able to start generating leads tonight. That's the idea.
I keep screwing that up. Oh, we are good. Okay, we're good. So thank you everyone for coming. So this, as you can see by our dad jokes, that's our level of joke of our comedy routine. It doesn't get any better, guys. But what the good news is, we're going to get into real stuff real fast on how to help your business, and that's what Steve's here. So a little bit about Steve Herron is, first of all, I don't take it enough times to thank him for his service as a Desert Storm veteran. And I see that here on your bio, and thank you again, Steve. I probably thanked you the first time I saw that, and I haven't in a while. So thank you for your service. Steve's going to bring a lot of his knowledge and skill as a Facebook Blueprint certified expert, and he's going to bring that to bear. He's also Google and Yahoo certified, and so we're going to use and tap into Steve's knowledge to help your business. And along the way, if you have any questions, Steve's got a great number. You can text the word social to 484848 with any questions. At the end of this, please stay tuned. We have a special offer just for coming out today from Homes.com that we'd love to get to you as well. And while we get started, and while we're waiting for a couple more people to roll in, we're going to get started right away, like I said. But I want to put up a couple polls so we can kind of get Steve an idea of your level of experience, and I'm going to run through them really, really quickly. And I'm going to put up the first one. The first one's always a question. So, do you have a Facebook account? I think we mean by that, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, do you have a Facebook business account? Is that what we mean by that, or profile? What are we talking there?
Profile.
Okay. Do you have a profile? Do you have anything in Facebook? Do you have anything in Facebook? So this is anything at all in Facebook. And if you can just, chime in so we know where everybody is real quick. And this is going to be the fastest poll. I'm going to close this one in a few seconds here. 5 seconds. And it looks like most people so far have something in Facebook. 3, 2, 1. I counted really fast. And I'm going to go ahead and close that. I'm going to share the results. Looks like everybody except for 2 or 3 have something in Facebook. Okay, awesome. Okay, now you guys got the feel for that. That was the easy one. Now, here's the hard one. Do you have a Facebook business page? If you don't know what that is, Steve will tell you later, but or maybe a little bit.
If you don't know what it is, the answer is no.
Okay, we'll put that up there. I love it. So if you have a Facebook business page, and not for the lawn care or painting service or whatever, this is for your real estate business page. Is it your account, not your office's Facebook page, your Facebook page? And I'm going to close this one out real quick. 2, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. Closing it out right now. Okay, let's take a look at that poll. So most people have, this looks like 80-something%, and I can't do the math, but it looks like most people have a going by that red bar. It looks pretty good. And let me go to one more thing here. I'm going to do one more poll. And this will give us an idea of how long you've been in real estate. Because the question is, how long have you been in real estate? I'm going to go ahead and launch that one. So let us know. And that, if you've been in real estate for 0 to 3, 4 to 5, 6 to 10, or over 10, I'm over 10. I've been in real estate for 25 years. Do we have an over 25? I would check that one. So let's just go ahead and put a couple more answers that we're waiting for, and I'll go ahead and close this one. And 3, 2, 1, any last minute answers? And I'm closing it now. So let's see here. It looks like we've got 0 to 3 is the winner. If you had 0 to 3 to win, you are a winner. And I'm hiding that one. And back to the main screen. Steve, let me know if your screen comes up. Okay, I can see it. Looks like we've got a good amount of people that are in. There's a lot of people on this call. So very important. This is a live event. I'm going to be here, and I'm not going to talk for the most part. I'm going to be answering any questions that you have. Steve is going to take it over in a couple seconds and go through everything for you. This is a great webinar. There's a lot of details on Facebook ad creation. And once again, please stay tuned to the very end because we have some great offers for you. So everyone, thank you for coming. If you have questions, put it in the question mark and I will answer it. If I can't answer it, I will interrupt Steve and he'll tell you how much he loves me to do that. So thanks again, everyone coming, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Hello, everyone. David, thank you so much for getting us all started there and some great questions to start things off. I also want to let everybody, I want to reiterate, this is something we want to try to keep as interactive as possible. Make sure you use that question section. Clearly, you guys are getting good at understanding how to use the little box onto the right-hand side. Let's keep doing that. I know David's got a couple other polls and he'll interrupt me as those come up. So that'll be great. Before I even get started, David mentioned the being able to text the word social to 484848. I want to make sure everybody understands that if you have to leave or if you have a question, even if it's in mid-webinar and you want to make sure that somebody reaches out to you after the fact, probably me, could be David, to go over your own situation, take a look at what your social media is doing for you right now or what it's not doing for you, how we can improve things for you. Lots of, just about anything you can imagine. Go ahead and type that word social to 484848. You can also email any of those questions or any of those requests to webinars@homes.com. Make sure that you write that down before I keep going. I want to make sure that you guys know that you have that resource available if you have to leave early or if you know for a fact that you definitely want us to reach out. On top of that, we've got, we at homes.com quite a while ago put together a special section of our website for professionals that was just all about putting together as much information and continuously updating and creating great content for people that had to do with our unique situation that we're living in these days, and working in. So go to that, go.homes/COVID-19. There's lots of there's other great webinars. I know most of you probably got on there to learn about this one. So congratulations and welcome to the show. So, but go to that for other resources. We've got a lot of great content stuff going on there. So definitely want to reach out to that. All right, let's get going. There we go. All right, so what are we going to do today? Well, we're going to start by identifying the 3 different ways that you can advertise on Facebook and which one is the one that you should probably be doing. And then we're going to create a Facebook traffic ad campaign. And the whole point on this is to help you understand how to generate leads. You should be able to start generating leads tonight. That's the goal here. And then at the very end, we're going to have a special offer from homes.com. It's going to have it also in that presentation. There are some other things that you want to take away that'll be strategic, that'll help you understand some of the things that you can do with your own social media that we will also be able to do for you. So definitely want to stick around for that, and it's a great offer and deal at the end of that as well. So let's dig into it. All right, let's talk about the 3 different ways to advertise on Facebook. And I'm betting that most of you didn't know that there were 3 different ways to advertise on Facebook. So news to you. The first, most of us have probably done. In fact, David, do you have a question about if anybody's ever boosted a post on Facebook?
I do. I'll put it up.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm kind of curious if anybody's ever boosted a post on Facebook. So let's put that up there and see what kind of a response we get. I typically get just about everybody in our class will say yes, that they've boosted a post at some point. So I'm expecting something similar here if you've ever boosted a post.
Are we talking about boosting a post on their personal page, like to announce that their kid just scored a touchdown, or?
No, because you can't boost those.
Oh, man. Okay, so we got a lot of people that have responded. I'm going to close this one down in 3, 2, 1. Last voted. Okay, here we go. I'll share that with everyone.
I can't see it, so tell me what the number comes in at.
Okay, we've got 58% have never boosted a post, and the remaining, whatever that is, I can't do that kind of math,
42.
have boosted a post. Back a year.
Wow, that's usually the other way around. I'm used to 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 actually boosting a post. That's great. All right, so the thing about boosting a post that you have to understand, and those of you that have done it probably realize this once you did it, is it's really hard to get an ROI, return on investment, from that, because there's no strong call to action. There's nothing to really get people to do. And when Facebook tells you about how great it is to boost posts, they tell you about how many people you're going to reach, not how much business you're going to get. It's strictly about spreading the brand, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not Warren Buffett. Heck, I'm not even Jimmy Buffett. I don't have that kind of money sitting around to just throw out there to let people know who I am. I need that to not only tell them who I am, but also work to generate an opportunity for me, and that I can actually look at it, trace, and say I got a return on that. So we're not going to talk about doing boosted posts today. In fact, after today, you'll probably never boost a post again. The other way that you might have actually done some advertising on Facebook is through the Ad Center, as it is attached to the Facebook page. Ad Center in the older layout, this is now considered the older layout because there's a newer one that's come out, was up in the left-hand corner. In the newer layout, and I'll show it to you here in a little bit, it's down on the left-hand side. But Ad Center is something that you got to from your business page, and the business, and you could go in, and it was a little more robust. It would give you a few more tools than what you were getting with boosted post. But the bottom line is, because it was so limited versus what I'm going to show you, you still had to spend more money to get similar results to what I'm going to show you. So it's not going to be about Ad Center. So there's two of the ways. It's the third way that's going to be the most effective for you to be able to advertise on Facebook. And we're going to go through it step by step today. And it all starts by creating your business manager on Facebook. This is a critical step to you managing your Facebook business presence, period. So not just from an advertising standpoint, but from managing your page, managing your posts, managing comments, managing everything that has to do with your Facebook business pages should all be done through your business manager. So you're going to go to business.facebook.com, screenshot that, take a picture, whatever it is you need to do, but you want to make sure you get this done. And you're going to get there, see a page that looks like this. There's going to be a blue button up in the right-hand corner that says create account. You're going to go through about 5 or 6 steps where you're going to name a couple of things. You're going to give them your login info, your Instagram login info, because yes, you can manage your Instagram through this as well, as long as it's business, right? Make sure you got that flipped over. But step through that, get it done. The other thing that's really cool about that when you get it done is that you can actually bookmark that. And why I think that's really cool is because I preach constantly how there should be a separation of your business and your personal. Too many of us are taking the opportunity that Facebook gives us, which they don't want you to do, but we're posting our business stuff on our Facebook profiles, our personal side, the side that everybody is our friend. And what I'm seeing happen, and it's happening more and more often now than it did, 2 years ago, but over the last couple of years, I've had hundreds of agents who have had their Facebook accounts suspended and their email address and their phone numbers have been blacklisted. They can't ever use them on Facebook again because they were caught promoting business on a profile. It's not something you're supposed to do. So you really got to get this separated. You really have to understand what's going on. No more sharing, no more of that kind of stuff on your personal side. You've got to make sure, and by the way, those of you that are on this class, the next class in the series, this is actually a series of 3. The next class gets into social strategies, and we talk even more in depth about Facebook and how you should be posting on Facebook and how that organization should happen, right? But just take it to bear right now. Do not do any more business on your Facebook profile, your personal side. Keep it all on business. And this helps make that easy because now, see right here, I bookmarked it. I can bookmark my business manager and I do not have to log into Facebook to get there. Now, most of you won't have multiple accounts on here. You'll go right in when you click on that to this, okay? And I wanted to show you real quick what the Facebook side looks like in the new layout. If you're going through your personal side, you're going to know that it's personal because you got all the blue stuff going on. You notice on this side, there's no blue. In fact, when you get into Ads Manager, there's a black bar. But over here, when I go to the pages, all right, these are all the different pages I manage. So I go here to an actual page, and I wanted to show you where that Ad Center is, right? So it's over on the left-hand side. That's the second way of advertising. Don't get that confused with Ad Manager. because as long as you're seeing that blue F up in the left-hand corner, you're in the personal side of Facebook. Get out of there. All right, go into your business manager. So we get here, you're going to see the page that you associated that they asked you in those five or six steps. You're going to see that here. You're going to be able to go to the page. Now, here's the weird thing about this. Let's see if they fixed it yet. But what would happen when you go to your page? Nope, they didn't change it. Is you're still seeing the older layout. So when you go to your page through here, you're still seeing the older layout, even though everybody that comes to it is seeing the newer layout. All right. It doesn't change the fact that you can manage it, you can post to it, you can do everything that you need to do through here, right? That doesn't change. It's still going to look right. It's still going to translate the way it's supposed to. All right, but I wanted to make sure everybody saw that. All right, so back to the business manager. Over here on the left-hand side, we have some navigation. And the first thing that I want to point out is one right on top, which is the most important, and that's Ads Manager. So we're going to click on that. It's going to take us right into our Ads Manager panels. And this is something that you never knew before because you haven't been in here, but all Facebook advertising is actually broken into 3 segments. And when you do it as a boosted post or you do it as an Ad Center ad, these 3 segments are automatically set. They're not really, Facebook automatically puts them together for you. And that's something that without that control, you lose some of the potency on those advertising campaigns that you put together. But all Facebook advertising is made up of a campaign that contains ad sets, and then the ad sets contain ads. And you have the ability through Ad Center or Ad Manager, to actually control each one of those sections. And you notice it defaulted us right into campaigns because that's where you're supposed to start. Campaign is where you're setting your objective. You're going to tell Facebook what it is you're trying to make the ad do. The ad set, which you have an unlimited number of inside each campaign, which also you have an unlimited number of. The ad set is where we're going to set our budget, our audience targeting, our geographic targeting. We're going to set our placement. Where is the ad going to show, right? So a lot of the mechanics behind the ad. And then inside each ad set, you have ads. Now there's a limit of 50 live ads per ad set, but you're never going to hit that number. That's live ads. It's just Coca-Cola, as big as it is, never even hits 50 live ads in one ad set. So that's not going to be an issue. But the ad is the creative, right? The thing that people are seeing, the thing that you're using to get them to motivated to click on something and go wherever it is you're going to send them. So, and the other thing that we want to keep in mind, and I'll keep reiterating this, is that the ad content is now your primary way of targeting because of some of the limitations that have been put on us. And you can use that in combination with Facebook's algorithm to really get a great target going for your ads. All right, so back to the beginning, campaigns. You're going to default to this. There's a green button there that says create, right? Pretty obvious. So we're going to hit that create button. Excuse me. So this actually brings up 3 different types of campaign objectives, 3 sections. There are 2 that you're just not going to use. Conversion, I know that sounds counterproductive, but that's all about e-commerce and retail. And then the awareness side is we're back into that Warren and Jimmy Buffett conversation where if you're sitting on a bunch of cash that you just got to get rid of and you don't feel like sending it to me, right? That's fine. Go ahead and burn it on those. But otherwise, let's keep you guys focused on spending your money where you're going to get an ROI. And that's in the consideration section. All right. In fact, there are multiple conversion or consideration types of campaigns. The one we're going to do today is a traffic campaign. I do these because they're the most effective while still being easy to use, right? There is one that will be better at doing lead generation, but it is a complicated setup, and that is lead generation ads. I've had a lot of people take my class and then think that they can go ahead and put a lead generation class together, and that's not how this works. I usually have to bail them out. We got to go in, spend a couple hours, get things undone, and get them set back on the right path. So don't get into that lead generation version until you've done several traffic ads and really get a good feel, and then start learning how to do it. In fact, if you come on as a partner with us, we'll even teach you how to do those the right way. So that's cool, a little preview of what's coming later. All right, so I'm going to actually select traffic. When I do that, what it does is it opens up this down at the bottom and gives me the opportunity to actually name my campaign, my ad set, and my ad. This used to be something you could only do as you get into each section. I love the fact that they let us do it here because I can actually use copy and paste here and make it very, very easy. And the reason that this is special or important to me is I can use, when you name your campaign, it's not Wednesday. Can't remember what day of the week it is. All right, so the campaign is going to be fairly high level. Am I going after buyers? Am I going after sellers? Or is it after a particular area? That kind of thing. Or is it am I doing campaigns for that they're going to have multiple ad sets for a particular listing? Maybe you put that listing out there. So that's campaign level. Now what I can do here to help my own organization is I can copy and paste the first part of that so that I know if I'm in my ad set making changes or looking at my analytics and I'm looking at the ad set level, I can tell by the beginning of that name what campaign it belonged to without having to go into the campaign itself. So something that's going to be specific about either the target or the audience or the geography or maybe something you're putting into the budget, right? Let's do that. All right. Now, I can now do the same thing. Oops. I can now do the same thing with this. Copy it and paste it into the ad name. And then something that I'm going to make specific about the ad. Let's just, I know it's going to be a single video, right? So, and if I'm going to have one that's going to be static pictures, I can put static pictures, or if I know it's going to be about a particular house, or it's going to be featuring the kitchen picture, those are the kind of things. And I know if I'm looking at that ad, that not only is it the single video ad that I'm looking at, but it was part of the PM $5 ad situation, which was part of the Tuesday campaign, right? So that's why I think that's cool. You have to name them at some point. The optional just means naming them there. And you see when we click on that, the continue button, here are the three segments. There's your campaign, your ad set, your ad, and then it defaults us into the full campaign section. And right here is the name section. So if you didn't name it there, you do need to name it here. Just made it easier. All right, next thing, special ad categories. We want to turn this on. In fact, we have to turn this on, and then we have to identify ourselves as being in the housing section. So if you don't do this and you get all the way through and you try to get them to approve an ad, they're going to reject it over and over and over again. You'll see at one point where we actually assign the business page that we're doing this for, and they know based on the fact that you had to build the business page and tell them that it was for real estate, that you should be in this. So they'll just keep rejecting until you have this connected right. Campaign details, you're going to leave the auction as the version, and then as far as the objective, it is traffic. If for some reason in the 30 seconds you went from the last page to this one, you changed your mind and needed to change it, you could do that here. A/B test, campaign budget optimization, you're going to leave those off. Those are more agency-driven type things that you're going to do. As you get more and more versed on this, maybe you will want to play with some A/B testing at this level. But I mean, you really need to be running a lot of campaigns and really have to be wondering what's going on. That's why in most cases, individual agents are not necessarily going to get involved with that. So we're going to go ahead and hit next. And right away, we're going to be taken into the ad set, right? The campaign is the quickest, easiest, fastest part of this. And you're going to find out that you're going to set a campaign and be into the ad set probably in less than a minute. We just needed extra time to go over things. So we are now in the ad set. I said before, you can name it here if you didn't already name it at the beginning. In fact, you want to name it here. You also want to make sure that your special ad category is identified up in the right-hand corner. The next thing it's going to ask you is, where are we sending the traffic? When they click on this, where are they going? And you've got 4 options here. If you have an app that you want people to install, clearly you can have that happen. Or if you want them to message you either through Messenger or WhatsApp, you can also have those things go. But this, in most cases, you're going to want to have them go to a website. But it's not actually going to be a website. The best thing for you to do when you're using this type of a campaign is to actually create a landing page. And a landing page has a couple of things that are specific to it versus sending somebody to a website. A landing page stays very focused. It continues the message as was stated in the ad, and then it also gives them a way to trade information for the thing that you promised in the ad. So whatever it was, is it a list of homes that are up for sale in this market? Is it a download? Is it some sort of buyer's guide? Is it a home valuation? Excuse me. That's the stuff you're going to promise, and they get it by filling the form out. The other thing you're going to notice, there's no navigation here. There's nothing. They can't go anywhere else, right? So there's no reason for them to get lost and then, forget why they were there. And that's part of the issue with a website. A website will typically convert at 1% or less. A landing page will convert at 5 to 10%. So anytime that you can increase your capability or your conversion rates by 5 to 10 times just by using the right situation, I think it makes perfect sense. My favorite as far as landing page creators are concerned is MailChimp, and I like it because it's got some cool email stuff that's built in to help you with some autoresponders, things like that. And I'm pretty sure they still have a free version. My second favorite would be Unbounce. I think they have like a 7-day or 14-day free trial. Just make sure before you set up for the free trial that you're ready to run with an ad, right? So that you're not wasting any of those days waiting to get the ad built. But use one of those and use that landing page. What happens if you send them to a website? It's too easy up here for me to go in and play with this navigation and forget why it was there. And every website has a bunch of navigation on it. The reason we can leave it as a website is because the one thing their website and a landing page have in common is they both have a URL, a website address, and we're going to use that later. That's why we're going to keep it as a website. Next, dynamic creative, leave it off. There's no reason to get into this. This is more for an agency situation where they have bunches of ads that need to be done, and they want to actually take a look and see. Facebook will create 10 different versions of it, and depending on where it's going, all that good stuff. Not something that you need to get into as an individual agent. And the offer, same thing, leave it off. This is more for e-commerce and retail. It's big, splashy, 50% off, buy one, get one, that type of very short term, this Friday only, this Saturday, this weekend only. That's what that's for. I have had people try that with free CMAs. I've had people try it with reduced rates, reduced commission rates, free home warranties, and they just don't produce. The next thing, and this is a really, really important one, is the budget and schedule. And it's the first time we're going to start affecting this stuff on the right-hand side. We got this neat little gauge that lets you know what your audience is like, how defined is it, and you want to stay in the green with this, preferably straight up and down. The estimated daily results. This is what they're expecting to have happen based on the budget and the audience we're going to get into as far as building that out, and how many people are going to click on the ad, right? So budget first. We're going to talk about this. There's two different ways to do your budget. One is daily, one is lifetime. The daily, the minimum that I would recommend, and most people recommend, just because of the way traffic's gotten on Facebook, is $5 a day. And you'll notice the minute I did that, my link clicks dropped to 17 to 49. My reach dropped, right? Now this audience definition gets more affected when we get into the audience section, so that I didn't expect that to change at all. I can either start this today for $5 a day and run it until whenever I turn it off, or I can set a start and end date. Let's say I want to start it tomorrow, and I want to run it for 30 days, which puts us into November 6th. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to spend $150, $5 a day, right? 30, right, times 5. Pretty sure I got the math right there. 150 bucks over that 30 days. And what's happening is the expectation is I'm going to reach between 1,000 and almost 3,000 people a day, and 17 to 49 people will click on an ad, no matter what the ad's about. What's going to happen here is Facebook is taking that $5 a day and refreshing every day. They're going to do everything they can to spend that $5. And there may be days when there's just a ton of people that are part of your target audience, and Facebook can't get to all of them, but they're going to spend the $5. And there'll be other days when there won't be a ton of your audience on Facebook, and Facebook would struggle to spend the $5, but they're going to by sending some of those people the ad a second or third time, if that's what they have to do, but they're spending the $5 every day. On the lifetime side, if I switch this to lifetime budget and I switch that to 150, my link clicks on the high end went up by 1, which is kind of weird, but what's going to happen here is I'm still going to spend the $150. It's still going to happen over the 30 days, but it's not going to happen $5 at a time. What's going to happen is Facebook's going to watch and look at the traffic and be able to tell with their algorithms what the traffic is going to be like that day and how much of your audience is going to be there. And there may be a day when you spend $10 and a day where you spend 50 cents. And you'll be able to see that in your analytics and your reporting, how much money they're spending per day. You'll also be able to see it on an app that you keep on your phone, your Facebook ads app. So you'll be able to monitor that and actually see what the spending is happening, how it's happening each day. A lot of people will use Lifetime for events, for open houses, for, maybe you got a big webinar or seminar coming up that you want to invite people to. They'll do that sort of thing, or they know I only want to run this thing for 2 weeks, so I'm going to set this, right? And I'm not interested in a daily budget. And so keep that in mind as you're putting this together. In fact, what I would suggest is probably the first couple of times, run both, right? Do some at Lifetime and do the same ad with a daily budget, and see different markets will react different ways depending on how that ad's put out there. So that's the 2 different kinds of budgets you're going to use. The next thing we're going to do is get into creating the audience you got to go after. And this is, by doing this and putting some targeting on here, we're going to affect not just the numbers down here, but we're also going to affect the little gauge on top. And again, there are 2 ways to create an audience. One is by doing a custom audience. And if you go to non-real estate based advertising clinics, they'll be all over creating custom audiences because you can save them. You can do lots of cool stuff, and basically it's downloading your database of clients, current, past, and future, and uploading them into Facebook, and Facebook finds them, and you can also group people based on the fact that they had already visited your website. There's a lot of cool things that you can do with this for retargeting and pre-targeting and all kinds of cool stuff, right? The problem on the real estate side is because we're in that group, that housing category, we cannot save those anymore. So what has to happen is you have to completely upload that list every single time. It's just not worth the effort anymore when you can go just a little bit further down and actually start in locations. And you hit edit on that, and you can actually put in locations a series of different ways. You can keep this as a national, and you can do different countries. You can go down to a state, a county, a city. You just can't get to a zip code. Zip code's not available, right? It says you right here. As long as we're in that housing category, it's taking that away. The other thing that you can do, though, is if you want to farm your market, do your address. You can actually put your address in there and let it do either a 15 or up to 50-mile radius from your address and farm your market with buyers ads, sellers ads, right? And try to get leads that way. Not to, right, you will get leads that way. The other is for those of you that are doing just listed, just sold type marketing. This is phenomenal for that. Put that address for that house in, do the 15-mile radius up to 50-mile radius around it. If it's a just listed and it's $1 million home, you might want to go a little further with that radius, right? But you can do that kind of thing based on the address. Really, really powerful, gets a much better return on investment than the mailers that you're going to put out, and costs like a 1/10 of what you would spend on the mailers. All right, so I'm going to actually, because I know we have people from all over the country here, I'm actually going to go ahead and put a local town, a local city near me. I'm going to use Ocala, Florida.
And while Steve's doing that, if I can just interrupt real quick, let us know where you're from. I know that Steve's from Ocala, so thank you, Steve. But where are you guys from? Let us know where you're from. Put it in the question box while Steve's doing his retargeting there. I'm going to feel for where everybody is on this call.
Yeah, that'll be great. In fact, if I don't get too far along here and you see a city you really want to see the number for, David, just let me know. So you can use Ocala, Florida, and the minimum I can give is a 15-mile radius, but I can take that up to 50 miles. That will give you an idea of just how far out that goes. Oddly enough, it didn't change my link clicks per day, so I'm actually going to scale that back down to the 15. Didn't help my cause at all.
A lot of these people are your neighbors, Steve, by the way.
There's a lot of people down here?
Yeah, a lot of people are within a stone's throw. We got someone from New York, Marietta, Georgia, but I've got 5 or 6 already within a stone's throw. One from Tampa, that might be a little further. Here we go, okay. Scottsdale. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
That's great. So those of you that are close to the Ocala, I'm actually in Summerfield, which is between Ocala and the villages. But that's awesome. All right. So Ocala, Florida, we're doing the 15-mile radius. The last class that I did was like an hour before this one. They actually had a little town out between St. Louis and Kansas City. And when I put it in there and I put some extra targeting on it, the link clicks went to 0, which I've never had happen before. So somebody gave me a town that there's really literally nobody on Facebook interested in real estate in that town, which kind of floored me. But come to find out, it was very rural. There was a lot of open space. So that's where the problem came. So that's something you want to keep in mind, is that you can manipulate this between the targeting and the budget to come up with a link clicks that's going to make sense for you on a daily basis. And that's going to make sense based on your conversion and things like that. I'm going to show you a little something to help you with that in a minute. The next thing is age. Now it looks like you can go in and change this, but you'll notice if you try, because I'm in the special ag category, I can't change the age. If any of you are working in 55 and over type situations, if we got enough people in Florida, there are some of you that are working that. If the ad is about one of those communities or working with that community, and by the way, you should also be throwing those ads into New York and Ohio if you're in Florida or the Georgia area, because you're not limited to just advertising around you. You can advertise anywhere you want. But the ad itself is going to be a big chunk of the targeting, because the ad itself, if it's about a particular area that is a 55 and over, you're going to say that. Great 55 and over active adult community in blah, 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 with a great picture or a series of pictures or a little video. So what Facebook is able to do is actually use that to its advantage to help target the audience. And we'll talk about it a little more specifically in a sec. But the age is one of those things that's also dictated by that. The other thing that I try to make sure everybody understands is that Instagram is not the place you need to be if you want to be in front of millennials to try to get them converted to leads. And I know most of us are in that boat. We want to get the millennials because they're buying, they're spending money. They're not afraid to get out there and do it. And they're going to be the #1 real estate buyer group for the next 5 years. That's the expectation based on all of the stats that are out there right now. So we want to do that. We want to make sure that we're in front of them. This is the place to do it. Since last fall, they've been the #1 migrating group to Facebook as far as age is concerned. They took over from baby boomers last fall. So they're there, and I think it's interesting because they're coming back. It's a platform that they're at least somewhat familiar with. They never completely left, they just weren't there much, and now they're back, and they're back in droves. So make sure that you're doing this and don't be afraid. And by the way, if it makes sense to run your ads on Instagram, Facebook is going to do that from here. You don't have to go to Instagram and do the ads. You can do the ads from here and have them go there. All right, next thing down, gender. I would never tell anybody to mess with this. The other thing, by the way, that I have been able to do consistently when it comes to age, when I've done some campaigns that are for something outside of real estate, every single time I take out the 35 and under group, I lose a full third of my audience every time. And it doesn't matter what other category. So let's keep that in mind. That 35 and under is there, and they're there in big numbers. All right, detailed targeting. You want to hit edit next to that, because this actually is going to give us an opportunity to be a little more specific. But I want you to keep in mind that you don't want to get too specific, and you don't want to start stacking a bunch of stuff here. Some people do that, and they stack and stack and stack, and it starts to get a little convoluted. In fact, there are basically 2 rules of thumb here that you can go either way. One is leave this blank completely. And the reason you can leave this blank completely, or just use what I do, and that is I'll type in real estate and select it because it's the first one that comes up here as an interest. So whether it's blank or not, even in the blank version, what Facebook is going to watch is how people react and interact with your ad. So your ad, while they're floating around on their phone and they're scrolling, if they slow down when your ad shows up, or they stop when your ad shows up, Facebook is looking at that as a type of interaction, giving it a bit of a score. When they click on it, it's like ding, 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 right? But what's happening is Facebook's watching all of those people do that. And they're taking a look at those people's profiles when they do that and where real estate ranks in that. And then they're taking that information and they're finding other people on Facebook that are just like that. Not based on just their Facebook information, but based on information that you're doing everywhere. I'm going to be assigning this as homework later, but if you really want to understand just how detailed this is, watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix. That is something that will explain for you exactly how targeting works, to at least to the sense of just how specific it can be and how much information Facebook and Google and them have on you, and can really, really get very specific in what you see. You get to use that to your advantage as a business owner, and Facebook, between their algorithm and how people are reacting to your ad and this little bit of information that you might have told them while they're in their learning mode, which is exactly what the ad will go into once it's been approved, they will understand exactly what kind of audience needs to be built for your ad. Very, very specific, very awesome, very cool what it can do. The thing is, I don't want Facebook taking any of their learning mode and devoting it to realizing that we only want people that are interested in buying or selling real estate. So that's why I put that in there. So either just this or blank, all right? They'll both work effectively. I just think the learning mode goes a little faster when you do this. Do not narrow the audience. And don't worry about the cough, guys. It's dry. For some reason, as humid as Florida is supposed to be. In my house for right now, it's kind of dry, and we got some allergy things going on. So,
well, I hope you feel better, Steve. Get something to drink there. Save your voice. I'll take over. Just kidding. I don't know any of this stuff. But I had a question. In general, how long do you recommend to run an ad for? Is there a minimum time or suggested time, like 1 day, 5 days a week, 2 weeks? What's the most effective?
I wouldn't say. It all depends on what you're trying to do. I've seen people run open house ads for 2 days and put $100 behind it and end up with 60 people at the open house. So really depends on what you're trying to do, and you've got to play that against your goals. So there's really no set thing. I will say that based on the way things have gone with Facebook recently, that $5 a day is probably the minimum you're going to end up spending. You can try in your market going down to maybe $3 a day, but $5 is about the minimum anymore. But as far as how long, there's really no set. There's no, here it is.
Awesome, thank you.
No problem. All right, so do not narrow the audience. Do not try to put more on top of this. There's no reason for you to go through all of that. Also, don't do languages at this point. There's no reason for you to get into languages. I'm going to show you later where you can actually do it at the ad level with other languages. Placements, leave this as automatic. This is where is the ad going to go, right? What different places. Facebook's algorithm is very good at figuring out where people will best react to your ad, whether it's in a right-hand rail or it's in the news feed or it's on Instagram. They'll find your audience when it's most likely to click on it. Don't try to overthink this, and don't think that at some point you're going to be able to outsmart Facebook on this. It just isn't worth the effort. The next thing is optimization and delivery. And you can do one of two things here. You can either leave it at link clicks, which is usually a higher volume, or you can get into landing page views. And what this basically means is they're going to find people, and we've got a problem when I do that, like that. They're going to find people that are more likely to fill out the form when they get there. Now, if you're pretty confident in your message, pretty confident in the form, you won't need to go this route. And if you did go this route and you go, ooh, wait a minute, that's not enough people there, then maybe you need to increase the budget. You go back up here and you can play with the budget number, or you may have to stack and maybe you'll need to actually add another city, right? Or increase the actual distance. I don't know if that'll help. You just do that. And again, you can use a number in between. You don't have to go from 15 to 50, but you see what happened. I expanded that audience geographically, and it did increase that, but that may not be beneficial to you. Maybe you don't want to quite go that far. So if you take it back to this, and then I know that whether or not this is in there or not, I don't remember, but let's try adding a city to it. And at least now I got landing page views.
Can you scroll down a little bit, Steve? We can't really see that. Thank you.
Sorry about that. There we go. So I know that that's a city that with the 2 15-mile bubbles tend to work out okay. My landing page views at least went up a bit. The thing to keep in mind here, the difference between this audience and the other one, when we talk about just link clicks, is that link clicks are great, but we're not necessarily all that sure that they're going to actually fill out the form. The landing page views, they are much more likely to do that. So you should see a higher conversion, while there may be more people clicking on it with the other way. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the big difference between those.
Hey,
All
Steve,
right.
I got a question for you. I know we might come back to languages down the road in the ad set when you're actually doing it, but is there a way to do multiple languages, or is it just one language?
No, multiple languages, and you'll see that. When we get into the ad, I'll actually break into that window so you can see where that happens.
Okay, if you can text in that when you get to that, awesome. Thank you. Great question, by the way. Keep them coming.
Keep them coming, guys. All right, so landing page views. If we look at this now, I'm almost done with this, but I want to check this. If I'm looking at landing page views of 1 to 11, I know that I'm probably going to end up with a number that's somewhere in the middle of this. And what you can do is actually do just a little bit of math. And let's say that it was the daily number of clicks was 5, but you're running this for 30 days. That tells me that we're going to have about 150 people that are going to click on the ad. And actually, we'll probably get higher numbers than this, but I'm using very conservative numbers. And the number of people that will actually be submitting the form are between 7 and 8. This is 7 or 8 new leads that are coming to you in a 30-day period that you spend $150 to get. I know, I'm in the business. You're not spending $150 anywhere and getting 7 or 8 quality leads. And not only are you getting quality leads, but these are leads that are exclusive to you. You're not competing. You're not competing with 3 to 5 other agents, and whoever gets there first is the one that's going to get it, right? So they all are coming to you. They're all expecting to hear from you, period. Much more powerful than when you're doing some of the other stuff that's out there. It's why the return on investment here goes through the roof. If you can add 7 or 8 new people every month to what's going on and into your lead pool, think about the power that's going to have by the end of the year. It's just going to mount and get crazy for you. And then you can reinvest some of that, increase that number, get that number up, right? If I take this and move it to, come up here, and I'm able to move this to $300 a month, I have quadrupled my number, right? From 1 to 4 at the bottom end of this. So my number on leads is probably going to go up to 28 or 30, right? So that's what you can do. That's how you can look at this stuff. And that's how you use this to help determine what that budget's going to be and how that targeting should work for you, and whether or not you should go after landing page views or link clicks. In fact, do yourself a favor, run one of each, right? Put $100 behind one and $100 behind the other, and see in your market which one actually seems to produce the better leads. Nothing wrong with doing that, splitting up the money a little. All right, so
let me, if everyone can just chime in, do you understand the difference of what Steve's talking about with the link clicks and the views and the difference between the landing page? If you have questions, let us know. Now's the time. This is super important stuff on how to target your ads correctly that Steve's showing you. Steve, if you want to flip back up to that $300, I don't know if you left it at 300.
Yeah.
But, okay, if you want to maybe bring it back down to the lower number with the landing page so they can see the difference on that. But this is really key. We get a lot of questions later on about this stuff that he's showing you right now. If you have questions, let us know.
So the other thing that you want to keep in mind is use the landing page views when you're using a landing page. If you're just looking to drive a bunch of extra traffic to your website, stick with the link clicks. So that's one of the ways that you can help determine which way to go with that. If that's really all you're trying to do is drive more traffic to your website because you're doing it as part of an SEO strategy, search engine optimization, just do link clicks, because that's all about volume. Eventually your website will start converting at a decent number. And if you start getting 30, 40, 50 people more to your website every month, you're going to start seeing 3, 4, 5 of those turning into leads. So let your website be the lead generator that it should be. If your website's not your #1 lead generator online, then we need to talk, because there are ways to make that happen. All right, so we've got that put together as far as the ad set goes. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next thing because we're getting a little tight on the time. But this is the ad. We're actually going to get into the ad, and you're going to notice right away that there's an error. The error is actually has to do with the URL, which we're going to put in later, so you can ignore that error. Then the first thing is the name. Remember we talked about that? We've already put that in. The next is, what is the business entity that you're actually going to be advertising for? and the Instagram account that goes with it. So we select those. The next thing is we're going to create an ad. Now you do have the option here of using an existing post, or there is a creative hub where you can actually work with multiple people to put together an ad, but we're going to stick with create an ad. We do not want dynamic formats and creative. We're not going to let Facebook take this over right now, because you got to understand how it works before you can let Facebook take it over. Otherwise, you're going to make incorrect choices and it's not going to look right. The format, you got 3 choices: single image or video, carousel, collection. Carousel and collection are really cool. We're not going to get into those today because they're quite a bit more complex. The collection especially, because it creates a mobile takeover. It's mobile only. But we're going to do single image or video. And the next thing, so we're going to leave it there. The next thing is the add creative. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually add an image. So I can go into the images that have been put here, and I can select a picture. I can hit next, and it's going to show me what this is going to look like. It gives me the placements and what it's going to look like in those cases. I'm okay with that. I hit done. And it shows me the 15 different placements over here, right? But it showcases the mobile. This is mobile newsfeed. And the reason it does that is because 87% of all the traffic on Facebook is on a mobile device, and they get the best results from mobile newsfeed advertising. So that's why this is the thing it's focused on. I can change this a little bit. Now, there are 2 versions of this out there right now, and I'm not sure which one you're going to get. But once you select that first picture, 1 of 2 things is going to happen. You're either going to see something that looks like this, and you're going to have a button that says turn into video, or you're going to see a list. David, you've seen this. You've seen that list of 3 with the little magic wand to edit and turn into a video next to each of the different layout categories.
Yep. So mine is this version now, by the way, Steve.
Yours is this one now too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And I don't, you know as well as I do, I don't know how they roll these out and how, because I think just recently everybody is finally on the new version of the whole thing. So if you guys are seeing the 3 with the little magic wand, the magic wand will do the same thing that turn into video is going to do here. And you can actually turn even a single image into a little video on Facebook. And video, if you can use it, is going to outperform static imagery 10 to 1 every time. So anytime you have a chance to do this, you definitely want to do this. And you have the ability to go in and create the tags on the bottom, the different pieces of information that are coming through as far as text. You can also add other photos. So if I decided I wanted to do that, I could go in here and I can add a picture. And it'll immediately take me to 2 or more images. And it's going to incorporate my logo, unless if I already had my logo, like in the one case there, I can actually trash this, take it out, and I don't have to have it there. Once I'm feeling pretty good about the pictures, then I can go and customize this, and in customizing, I can actually change the headlines. So when that plays, it's going to run through those 2 things. I hit done at this point. It shows me the previews. I can actually play through them. I hit use video, and now I have created a video to use on Facebook out of static images. It doesn't take much at all. It does take a couple of minutes here for them to finish that. While it's finishing that, I'm going to go ahead and go through the other pieces that are involved, and you're going to see the finished product on the right-hand side here in a second. All right, so primary text. The primary text actually appears above the picture. You get 3 lines to get their attention. Some people would call this an elevator pitch, right? Pretend you're getting on an elevator with somebody and you've got from the floor you're on to wherever you're going to tell them what you're all about or what this thing is about. But you're going to have those 3 lines to get their attention. You can use emojis, which I highly suggest. For whatever reason, emojis get their attention more so than just the words. So anytime you can do that, throw emojis in it. The next thing is a headline, and the headline actually is a bold line that sits below the picture. And it's the thing to get them to click on the button, right? The call to action button. And we're going to start seeing this layout here. So there's where your 3 lines are going to go. And by the way, you want to make sure you stay within the 3 lines so that, and it'll show you. If you get beyond the 3 lines, scale it back. And then down here on the bottom, the headline, if I start putting that in, you're going to use that to try to add extra motivation to get them to click the button. It's taking a second. Right now, I use the little extra arrow thingies, right, to try to drive attention to that right, because we just tend to do that. But that's what you can do. And I did this to get long enough so you could see that when you go a little bit long, it does kick into a second line. If I take out this click part, you'll notice it'll go back to a single line. And then there's this extra portion called description, right? And if in here, I would say you can go ahead and write your book, right? We like to put a lot of great information about whatever it is that we're putting out there. You can do that. That's okay to put that here. And especially on desktop, they're actually going to see it. You see where I put it right there? But if I go back up here and I put that piece back in, this is actually going to drop the description off of the mobile version. But when they go to the desktop version, they'll see that description portion. All right. So I wanted you to see how that does that. I'm a fan of using the 2 lines with bold on the mobile, right? That makes perfect sense to me because it's going to catch their attention. The next is destination. Where are they going? We're going to leave it as website, but we know now that it's most likely going to be a landing page. You can have this go to a Facebook event. And if you set up the Facebook event for an open house, that can drive a lot of traffic with a great ad campaign. The other thing that's new is this phone call. And David, I think, didn't you tell me that you actually had somebody did this, or you did it?
Yeah, I've done it myself personally. Limited success, I have to say, but you know, I think I got 2 or 3 engagements from it, and I ran it for 4 days.
Okay, and let's keep in mind, if somebody's calling you, they're serious, right? When they're online, there's a certain anonymity that they enjoy in filling out a form, right? And they're not necessarily, in most cases, ready to talk to you on the phone. If they've already decided they're going to call you on the phone, they're serious. So it's definitely something you want to take advantage of. But we're going to leave it as website. And the reason this comes in, I said it earlier, right, is it has a URL. So I'm going to copy that URL, and we're going to put it in there. And I use MailChimp. So what's going to happen is I'm going to get a shortened URL that says MailChimp. I don't want people to see the MailChimp thing. I want them to see my URL. So I'm going to go ahead and put my URL in the display link. This doesn't change where they're going. This just changes what they see. Now, I will say this. I have noticed in Facebook's AI here that sometimes this can get a little tricky. If they think that the URL that you're putting in as a display link isn't somehow related to the one that's in the website portion at the top, they may flag this, they may reject it, and you may have to ask them to override it. They're a little concerned. People have been putting completely different kind of URL in there that is just worlds apart from where they're actually going, and it's been misleading, so they're trying to cut down on that. But I wanted to warn you about that. As far as the call to action goes, make sure you're using one that makes sense. We'll leave it at that. And then languages, right? This is where you can select your default language, and then once you've selected a default language, you can add others. So if I went with English as my default, then I can actually click here and I can add up to 10 other languages. And what it'll do is it'll show me those in the different languages. All right, you can actually make sure that they're built properly, put together the right way, and that everything is right. Because when you try to rely on the interpreters, what's the word I'm trying to think of? The translator.
You beat me before I could unmute myself.
When you can rely on the translators, they don't always work that well. So that way you can make sure that they're exactly the way that you want them to be by doing it here. So that's why I say wait till you get here. As far as tracking goes, Facebook Pixel, somewhere down the road, when you get really, really involved in this, it's probably going to make sense for you to actually get into Facebook Pixels, do some research on it. If you're partnered with us, we'll help you understand how to use them the right way. It's going to be great for analytics, maybe some retargeting, some other things you can do. But for right now, let's just concentrate on getting an ad together that gets you some leads, right? That's our big thing right now. So somewhere down the road, you can talk to us or start doing some learning about Facebook Pixels on your own. At this point, I would hit publish. I would wait for Facebook to approve the ad, and then the Facebook ad would go, Facebook would go into learning mode to understand how to actually target the ad properly. If I wasn't quite done, I could hit close here, and it's actually going to save it right where I left it. So I can come back at any time, click on it. You have to make sure you select it, right? And hit the edit button, and it'll take you into this, and you can go into the section where you left off, fix it up, finish it, and then hit publish. You also have lots of analytics that you can get into here, all these different campaigns you're going to have, and you can see overviews of them, or you can actually go into them and look at the graphs and get into more details for each of the campaigns and ad sets and ads that you've run over time. So really cool what you can do with all of that, and a lot of great information going on in there. So there's your ad manager, the right way to put together an ad with Facebook versus the way that most people have been doing them up till now. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the final part of this. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me to get through this. So I am gonna assign a little bit of homework, but I think you'll enjoy this. This isn't bad. Get your Facebook manager set up, right? Get that business manager done. Get through those 5 steps, get it set up so you can get into your ads manager. Set up your first traffic ad campaign. Might as well start tonight. Let's start generating some leads, right? And see if you can use a MailChimp landing page to do that. Or worst case scenario, right? Do the standard, just try to drive a ton of traffic to your website if that's what you want to try to do. And speaking of which, get more people to your Facebook page, get more people to your website. You can do additional targeted campaigns just for those 2 things. Remember that any leads that you're generating from this are exclusive. You don't have to compete with them, so you don't have to have as many of them in order to be as effective or more effective. This is part of why that ROI is so strong. You do not have to compete. Anytime you don't have to compete, it's going to improve your opportunities. And then make sure you watch that. The Social Dilemma, no, I'm not being paid or anything. I watched it. I thought it was amazing. I thought it has a lot of great information to help you feel better about why you should use those platforms for your advertising going forward and how well it works and why it works. So I want to talk to you too, before we go, about how Homes.com would love to work with you as your partner in creating some social dominance. And again, this is about a partnership. This isn't a takeover. I'm not a fan of anybody that wants to take over your social media and think that you can just set it and forget it. Social media doesn't work that way. It will never work that way. That's why in most cases, if you go with that kind of a platform, it doesn't work. You start to wonder why it's not working. You can't manage it. You can't just let it go. You have to continuously manage your social media. And this social media dominance starts by making sure that you're digitally right and that you've got a healthy social presence. And that will be in the next class. Those of you that decide to come with that, we talk about strategy and putting that together. So what do we do when we're a partner with you? Well, we concentrate on 5 platforms and getting them created, and then 3 of them that we're going to continuously service for you. Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, if you have them, we're going to optimize them. If you don't, we're going to create them and then optimize them. Google My Business and YouTube, same thing. But on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, we're also going to start posting on your behalf every week once they're done. We start this whole thing by creating a consistent branded look. We have to have the same look. You need the same branded look across every platform. And I know most of us on this call don't have that going on, right? We've got something completely different on the top of every one of these different platforms. So we work on that. Our graphics team will work with you on that. We've got a ton of templates to choose from. And by the time you get all your stuff in there, it's going to look like a custom piece, I promise. We're going to post 3 times a week to Facebook and LinkedIn. That's not enough, but it's enough that we can at least we move it around. We watch it. We watch the analytics on how people are interacting. We find the sweet spots for your market. And when we find sweet spots for that, any posting that you're doing is going to get better. You're going to see better interaction with it. And in that strategy class, we even get into that more and why it's important and how it's important. Instagram twice a week, same kind of thing. We're going to constantly monitor that. Google My Business and YouTube, we want to get those set up. We're not going to abandon you. We're going to be there to help you understand how to post to those and guide you on it. but we're not able, third-party posting is just not one of those things that can happen on those platforms, all right? So when this is being done right, you're gonna get more people to your Facebook page. When you get more people to your Facebook page, more of them are gonna like it, more of them like it, the more of them are gonna, you have this opportunity to create clients and customers out of that. So the other thing that happens is that when that improves, there's always that connection suggestions or other pages you might like. Just start showing up in that, and that is huge in driving extra traffic. As a part of our program, at no additional charge, we will actually do 3 ad campaigns a month for you. These are designed to build brand awareness, not generate leads by themselves, but build brand awareness and get traffic to your website and Facebook page. And there are 3 different campaigns. There's a brand awareness campaign that we use to drive people to like your page, a website click-through ad that's designed to drive traffic to your website or to a particular page on your website. And then there's a promoted post that is not a boosted post. There's a world of difference between those 2 things. But again, just to really drive home brand awareness and establishing you as a real estate expert in your market. When you add your own ad campaign for lead generation on top of the campaigns that we're doing, it's going to go through the roof. Your numbers will dramatically improve versus having to try to build your own brand outside of that on your own. You would have to run those 3 campaigns yourself and then also run the lead campaign. We'll do the hard work for you. Then we include a reputation and directory management tool. This is critical, and this is one of those things you find yourself when you're doing things the right way. You're going to find yourself starting your day in this panel, because this is going to give you all the places that you should be listed as a business, all those online directories, everything from Yelp to City Search to Realtor to Homes to Zillow. I'm going to guarantee that most of you don't have all 3 of those platforms completely updated the way you should, and they're all free. But get that done, guys. But you're going to be notified. There's going to be a list of all the different business directories that you should be on, and you should be spending time every morning getting those updated and improved. We're going to give you the chance to do review tracking and get alerts that you can respond to reviews whenever they're done, no matter where they are on the internet. Social media tracking and website tracking. If you're mentioned anywhere, you're going to be notified of that fact and where it is, so you can go and see what that's about. And we'll also give you a chance to do that with 5 of your competitors. This panel, this part of what you get is so enormous to helping you build your business digitally and get digitally healthy. I cannot press enough how important this is. The next closest competitor to this is something called Yext, yext.com. It's expensive, but it doesn't do anything more than this one does, and we include this for free in the package. This will also let you understand how you're ranking for search engine optimization, especially on the maps, Yahoo, Bing, and Google, so you can really work that, because that map listing with Google My Business is something that will help you leapfrog to page 1 without a bunch of search engine optimization having to be done. Huge what you can do with that, and you want to make sure that that's working the way it's supposed to. We also incorporate a dashboard with the CRM so that if you need it and you want drip campaigns and all that kind of stuff, and management of your incoming leads, instantaneous notification of those leads, an automatic sign up for those leads with your newsletter, automatic newsletters generated on your behalf, all of this cool stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff in the CRM. It's included for free. We do not charge additional money for that. We also, every month, you're going to get 2 reports. One's going to be about the social media that we're doing and how that's happening, what's happening, what kind of audience you're getting, what they're doing. And then the other one's going to be about the ad campaigns. I highly suggest that you, once you get that you schedule time either with me, with David, or if somebody else signs you up with this, or with the liaison. Best if you can do it with the liaison, but I want to make sure that you set that appointment each month when you get this report to go over that with somebody on our team so that you understand how that's supposed to be read and how you use that to decipher what to tell us to do going forward, or if you're happy with everything. I can't stress this enough. You've got to make sure you understand how this reporting is working. And then from a support standpoint, there's one thing I have to add to this, but we're going to give you access to that team of experts. The same people that are doing the work for us and making us successful, we're giving you the opportunity to tap into that knowledge. There's a monthly newsletter. You're assigned a liaison, by the way, to help you with that, so you don't have to have 20 different contacts. But you get a monthly newsletter from us also that's going to update you on everything that's going on social media across the board. Some latest tips and tricks, things that have come up, changes that are coming, all that fun stuff. And then we also have vaults of training guides in PDF and video format to help you understand how to do just about everything on every social platform. In addition to that, we are launching an 8-week circuit of training for all of the things that are involved with what we're doing. And we're going to go over that, what we're doing and how you should use it, the strategies that you can use in addition to that to take it to the next level. And then we'll have Q&As. And that's going to be every Monday morning once we get those launched, what I believe is going to start happening in November, and you'll be signed up to be a part of that. And every week there's going to be a new class, and it's all going to be, and then we'll do it, recycle another 8 weeks, the exact same stuff. So no matter when you come in, you're always going to be able to get through the entire 8 weeks, but there's nothing that you're not going to know unless you just don't show up, right? And that's where this partnership comes in. That's why we do it the way we do it. So the actual offer, you're going to get everything we just talked about, all of that social media stuff put together, the management of Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, the posting to it, the ad campaigns, that reputation and directory management tool. On top of that, we now have 2 Secrets of Top Selling Agents books. You're going to get both. These are huge, tons of great information to help you improve as an agent, learn some of the tips and tricks and trade secrets that some of those best producers have put out there. We also have put together the ultimate guide to real estate Facebook ads. So if you ever need refresher, if you want to get through, it's almost like going through your own certification. We put this together. It's in modules. You take your time, go through it at your own pace. This is a $700 value that we're going to throw in for free. If you're going to sign up for this class by itself, it's $695. You get it for free by signing up with this package today. And then the complete social media step-by-step guide. This is an 18-page juggernaut of information and great resources on how to get more and how to put your content together, how to understand to put together your content calendar, all of that stuff. It's in there. So we're going to inundate you with as much information as you can possibly muster to become amazing real estate agents making a ton of money. This is only $499.95 a month for 6 months. There's usually a setup fee of $200. If you sign up with David or me today, in the next 24 hours even, we'll waive the setup fee down to $100, and we will save you $50 a month on the monthly. So that just means you get everything we just talked about for just $449.95 a month with only a $100 setup fee. That's a ton of savings. That's $300 over the 6 months plus the $100. You get to save $400 on this, and you get your social media done right, and you get to learn how to make it work for yourself going forward and become experts of your own. So I'm going to finish there. I'm going to turn it back over to David. David, thank you for giving me the time. I appreciate everybody hanging out and getting through this. Don't forget about being able to text social to 484848. And if you have any other questions, webinars@homes.com. Back to you, David. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you, Steve. That was awesome presentation. I know we ran late on this. It's probably mostly due to me and my fault and how slow I talk. But I just want to let you know that Steve will stay around. So if you do have questions, we will drag him back on screen and help you out with any individual questions you might have. For those of you still on the call, just wanted to reiterate, these are your accounts. These are your platforms that you have. And Steve mentioned earlier, you don't want to do business with someone that takes over them. We do not take them over. These are yours. And we will manage them and help grow them for you. Really great special offer that we have here. One of the first steps that we do is myself or Steve or one of our other sales reps here at homes.com will meet with you and sit down with you and kind of go over your social presence. Steve mentioned some of the other real estate portals that are out there. We'll help you take a look at them so that you're maximizing your social media presence across a wide range, because we're here to help you build your business. And that's a part of the service that we do here at homes.com. Once again, it's a great offer. Look forward to working with everyone here. And I do see a couple questions coming in, so I'm going to go through those. And once again, thank you, everyone. I know a lot of people stayed on the call, and we did run late, so my apologies for that. And really, really, really appreciate everyone here and the great questions we had today. So let's see what we've got. Steve, I feel like I'm reaching into a bag. Okay, it's not a question. It's a thank you so much. Great information. Awesome. Thank you. Looking forward to the next part of the series. There you go, Steve. You got to get part 2 or part 3, I think. And I did have an agent that I was trying to drag a question out of, and I'm not sure if he's still on the call, but it was about his Facebook business page. Now, he's not on the call anymore. He had a question that was regarding earlier on the naming of his Facebook business page. He doesn't use his real name on his profile. Should he use his real name on his business page was his question, which I, saving for later. I don't know if you want to comment for anybody else that's still on, but he has gone already, unfortunately. But if you have any other questions, please put them in the chat real quick while we still have Steve.
To answer that question, yeah, you want to use your real name on the business page because your naming mechanism on your Facebook business page should be something about you, /realtor. You don't necessarily, in the name of the Facebook page, have to incorporate your broker. Now, that being said, I'm seeing this happen a lot. People are putting the cover photos together and not putting any branding on the cover photos. That's a big no-no. That cover photo has to meet all of your state's requirements for marketing. So make sure that your branding and everything is done the right way on that cover photo. But your name of your business page, either your LLC or you, realtor. Definitely, you want people to know who you are. And if that's how you're running your business is with your name, definitely want to do that. And also understand that if you're concerned about security issues, things like that, Facebook has a completely different set of security rules for its Facebook pages than they do for their Facebook profiles. Your profiles should be on lockdown like Fort Knox. You shouldn't be friends with anybody who you don't know. So if you're on there with a fake name because you're dealing with friends that aren't friends, right, that are clients, you got to stop that practice anyway and not be as concerned about having your name out there on Facebook on the personal side, because you should be locked down with all the privacy opportunities you can get. Pages are like websites, right? It's something you want people to be able, when they search for you, Facebook pages can show up on the search results. So take advantage of that to work to your benefit.
And you want to be found. If someone's looking to sell or buy some homes, they want to be able to find you right away. So yeah, definitely use your real name and maybe the area or brokerage or whatever you're focused on, like Steve mentioned. And so once again, there's still a bunch of people on the call. So if you do have questions, now's your time. I still have Steve on the screen. And if you want to get some more information on the program, Social Fuel, or any other questions that you have, feel free to, I don't know if it's still on the screen, but feel free to text the word social, that's SOCIAL, to 484848. And if you have more specific questions that don't really fit on a text, or you just don't like sending text messages, you can email it to webinars, that's WEBINARS, at homes, HOMES.com. So looking forward to helping anybody else that has some calls. If you don't want to put it in the chat, you want to send us an email, totally fine. We'll meet with you one-on-one to help you with your social media presence. And we are looking forward to helping anybody else. And last call for questions. And if I don't see any, we're going to let Steve go. Really appreciate everyone for coming out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, I think that, I don't know if there's one in November, Steve, if you want to mention that, the next social media class that you're running for, because there's still a lot of people on the call. If you want to put that out there and let people know about your next one.
The next one, the strategies one, is actually, I believe it's next Monday. It's on in fact, if you want to, you can use the email or the text. If you want, especially the email, hey, when is that next class? We can make sure that you get those links, or you can go to that go.home/COVID-19, and it's got the schedule in there for all of our upcoming webinars. But I'm fairly certain, let me pull this.
Yeah, basically go to that COVID link. I'm sorry?
It's in the chat. November 12th is the strategies. October 12th.
October 12th, there we go.
October 12th, there you go. So once again, everyone, thank you so much for coming. No other questions, so I'm gonna let Steve go, and thank you. That was Beth, who takes care of making all these things possible. Big thank you to Beth, and thank you again, everyone, for coming out today.
Thank you, Beth.